A bad one. Nice rainbow. Oh, get him, get him, get him. Oh, wow. Barely do you ever see that happen. Got him.
Okay, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to catch big, beautiful rainbow trout shore fishing. One after another, we went out the pro team and just had an amazing day. Probably over 60 fished as a team. Just had a phenomenal day in a huge, major snowstorm too. It was a cold one. I will tell you that much. It was freezing cold and it was a mud pit. This is the muddiest I've ever been fishing. So, here we go.
Get this one through the ice. Oh yeah. Oh. Catfish right there.
Okay, as I mentioned, this video is all about how to catch big rainbow trout. A couple of guys caught a cut or two and a tiger, and we were up at a place called Porcupine. And it was a blizzard, I gotta tell you. You'll see in the video here, it was unbelievable. But super fun, so many nice, beautiful rainbow trout. But let me get into the setups, but before I do that, you guys know me, Josh Bondowski, founder of BendoskiPowerFishing.com and home of the Bondowski Power Fishing subscription box, where we put all the different gear and stuff that we use when we're out fishing the pro team in this box, and it ships right to your door, about a $30 to $35 value every month, new stuff. Really phenomenal value. It's only $16.99. Highly recommend that you check that out. Okay, let me get into the gear that we use. We use 6'6". I use Velocity rod and reel combos. This is the only brand I use. Jared Johnson signature series. This is the medium light action. This is the one I really love the action on this. And then we also have a medium action, and I use one of each. In Utah, we can use two rods. So on the first rod. And you guys know this, I've got a couple of extra tips in this video, but I always like to go through the gear first, because that's, you know, if you're out there trying to learn how to fish or pick up a couple of tips on where you're headed, I believe that the setups are the most important part, and then I'll go into some of the other really valuable tips that I've got in this video specifically. So, what we do is, I was actually using it at Porcupine, but it's the same setup. It's just, I'll go over why I used a bubble instead of a steel slip weight. But anyways, start with 20-pound braid, then to a slip weight. And I was using bubble slip weights that you fill them with water. I have changed for the last, I'm going on another trip here in a little bit, but I changed to slip weights because it's so cold. It's getting very cold. You'll see in this video, I mean, it's freezing cold. This was the last trip that I was going to use bubble weights on, because you have to get them filled up with water, and occasionally when you're reeling them in, they'll get a little bit of water out. Now there's a specific reason for that. Sometimes you want to let a little water out, and then you can float your bubble weight in the water column. So there's a very good reason, and I've got another video on how to do that from when we got those big tiger trouts, trying a Current Creek video. So if you go back in my library, or I may put a link in this video of Current Creek of how you use the bubble when it's not completely full. But at Porcupine, I was having the bubbles completely full because I wanted to fish off the bottom. And let me just go through this, and then I'll talk about fishing off the bottom and why these weights are so good. So anyways, use a slip weight. Oh! I almost got a hook in the face. I guess I won't bounce them like that anymore. That's crazy. Be careful. Okay, so use a slip weight, okay? So this slip weight just goes onto your 20-pound braid, or whatever poundage. I mean, Terrence fishes with very light poundage. I ought to see what Billy and the team, I'm actually going to ask the guys and see what they like to use. But I like to use 20-pound braid. That's my favorite poundage for most of the fishing that I do. And anyways, you want your slip weight on here. So it's a bubble slip weight. In the video, I've switched to steel ones because my hands are too cold to fill them up. And then down to a swivel. And I use a uni knot to go from the braid to the swivel. And then I use a surgeon's knot to hook my 12-pound fluorocarbon leader to my swivel. And the reason I use a surgeon's knot is the surgeon's knot has a little loop at the top, and so it's not tied directly onto the swivel to where you can just unhook it. You can just slip it right off. It's got like a little, you can control the size of it, like about a dime-sized loop. But then I can pull it off and switch out to something else if I wanted to. I usually have a couple of these rigged up, and so, you know, if you get snagged up, you break a couple hooks off, or or if you just want to switch to something else pretty quickly, you can just do it quickly without having to cut your thing and then retie your knots every time. So surgeon's knot to a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. And then I like to use for trout a #2 hook. These come in the Bondowski power fishing box, but a #2 hook. And on one of my poles, I always do just one hook, and I put on whatever it is they're biting, whatever they're biting. And minnows, oh my gosh, Terrence is the one who really introduced me to using minnows. And wow, it is game changer. We have been just absolutely slamming them on minnows this whole season. So that has been awesome. So that's the setup for the first pole. Now the second pole is exactly the same. And I often, almost every trip, I often get a double up. So 2 fish on the same line. This 2 fish, a double up, not a double up like one on each pole at the same time, but 2 fish on the same, hook, on the same when you're reeling it in, there's 2 fish on there. So it's pretty cool. So porcupine, the second pole, I always do what I call the Bondowski buffet. And it was taught to me by a friend. I don't remember what he called it, so I just named it myself, I guess. But anyways, there's an article in American Outdoors magazine, which I'll put a link into American Outdoors magazine, so that you can read the article all about the Bondowski buffet and the 3 hook system. But I'll tell it to you here. But if you want to read up on it in that national magazine, there you go. So anyways, what I'll do is this popped off. This one was broken, but I'll do a fairly long leader, and I'll put 3 hooks on it. So I'll snell the first hook or jig. Sometimes I do 2 hooks and a jig, or 2 hooks and power bait. I just want to get an idea of what the fish are biting, and by using those 3 hooks, it gives me a good indication of what it is they're biting. So if I go power bait, minnow, and a night crawler, for example, just use those, power bait, minnow, and night crawler, I can, and if I get a couple of hits on the minnow, then I know, okay, let's switch the other pole to minnow, straight minnow. If I get a couple hits on the power bait, then I switch both poles, and I start running different colors of power bait on the 3 hooks. I'll set up a different one with 3 different colors of power bait, or whatever it is I identify that the fish are biting off the buffet. That's what I run on both poles, and then sometimes even towards the end of the day, I'll just be running 3 minnows on this on my buffet, because that's what they want. They want minnows for the day, or whatever it may be. So that's what we did as far as the hooks are concerned. Oh, the other last thing I'll tell you about the bubble weight, and the reason we use a bubble weight instead of hooking it directly to your swivel, or tying it in the middle. The reason that we use a slip weight, or sometimes a bubble weight, or steel slip weights, is because the fish are relatively smart, especially trout. They're a lot smarter than, like a little white bass trip or something like that, where we just go down Utah Lake. The trout, they can feel the weight when they pick up that minnow and they start swimming off. They can feel that weight tugging on their mouth, and they'll spit the bait out. And then you'll lose that fish. So the slip weight allows the fish to pull the line when that weight will just sit on the ground. It'll just sit in the rocks or whatever, it's sitting on mud, and that weight will sit there, and then the fish can pull the line. And then you can see your pole tapping. And then you can hook set that fish and reel it in. And so that's why we use the slip weights. It's because it doesn't put any weight in the fish's mouth, and you're able to get a lot more fish that way than if you hook it directly, and because the fish will feel that pull. And it allows you to cast out into deeper water, much deeper water. And so just a really, really fun trip with the pro team. Porcupine, what an amazing trip. You'll see it was an absolute blizzard, but it was super fun. Oh, the other very, very important tip. So there's a couple of things in fishing that are very, very important. And one of them, if you've watched any of my videos, is especially with shore fishing, is if you're not catching fish, or if you're not catching as many as you think you could, is to move, is to try and cover water. Now, when we're bait fishing, you're casting bait out into the water and you're waiting for the fish to pick it up. So you're not actively jigging. And as it gets colder, as you can see in this video, it's gotten a lot colder. The fish are not as aggressive. They're not attacking, a spinner as often, where they just kind of want to pick up a meal, an easy meal. They don't want to chase. They're getting cold and they don't want to chase down a meal. And so that's why we're doing a lot of bait fishing. is to show you guys how as it gets colder, you know, the attitude of the fish changes a little bit. And so we want to give them the easy meal, very easy meal, and they'll just pick it up off the ground and we can grab it. And so, but you still need to cover water. So porcupine, you'll see we started in one location. And with the protein, we like to kind of spread out sometimes so that we're covering more water, and we'll figure out where the hot spots are. And sometimes my team, you know, they'll end up on a hot spot and I'll end up on a crappy spot. And they'll outfish me. You know, I don't pretend to outfish everybody. You know, my team, you know, outfishes me, and sometimes I outfish them, and you know, that's fishing. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, you know. And so anyways, at Porcupine, so we ended up in this cove, muddiest place I'd ever been. Mud everywhere, all over me. I even felt so bad. Terrence is the one that drove us on this trip, and I just felt so bad. His car was so dirty by the time we got home. Unbelievable. But I really appreciate you, Terrence, for taking us on this trip and you know, just having a great time there. Okay, so to back up, being able to move. So we started in one location, and I just happened to be kind of in this, you'll see in the video, in this cove here, and I had gotten a couple of them. Orion was out on the on kind of the pier, and then Billy and Terrence were kind of on the other side, and so we had kind of spread out. We kind of see what was happening. We got a few, but it wasn't that consistent, right? We got a few, so we moved. We said, okay, you know, it makes sense to pack up and go somewhere else. Let's just move, because we need to cover more water. And when you're shore fishing, you don't have the ability just to cruise around in a boat and troll and wait till you hit them, you know, or drift across a large amount of water. So the only way to really cover water is to actively get up and move, which is very important if you're not catching fish, to just move, to just try another spot, you know. And so we picked up, we moved, and we got on a ton of fish. But then, you know, over time, I felt like the bite was slowing down for me a little bit, even though it was, you know, it was really good action all day long. It was super fun. So I moved again, and I went on the the team was over here doing pretty good, and I was over here like on the far end. I was the farthest team member on this at Porcupine, and the bite was great for a really long time, and then it kind of slowed down, and so I cruised over on the other side of them. You know, that's a lot of water that if I had to do it myself, it would have taken, you know, hours probably. I'd have to, you know, spend 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes at each spot to kind of catch all that water. But I knew they were doing really well throughout here because they were all slamming them too. And so I just wanted to get into this little cove and kind of try this where it went down into the dam, is to be willing to move, to pick up and move. If you spent the time and in preparation to get out on this fishing trip, and you're out there and you're not catching fish, a lot of times a simple location change can be a real big game changer. So that is one of the biggest tips I have for you today. So, and if you like this video, if you like our videos and you like learning how to fish the way that we do, you know, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time we produce a new video, you have an access to that. As well as if you have any questions, or if you're curious about maybe the line that we use or anything like that, feel free to put it in the comments. You know, just make a comment and just say, hey Josh, or you know, team, or whatever you want to say. What do you think about this, or what do you think about this setup, or what should I do if I'm headed to this spot? And so, you know, we with the pro team and all the knowledge that we are acquiring and have sharing, you know, between all these members as this grows, you know, we've got a lot of knowledge that we can share. And the other thing is, you know, I want to thank the team big time for being willing to share their knowledge. If you're just getting into fishing, and if you're you know, new to fishing, you know that not all fishermen share their secrets. You know, that's not I would say it's probably maybe even 50-50. 50% of the people are willing to share their secrets, 50% of the people want to hold on to those secrets. And so I want to thank the pro team for always helping me, and you know, I share as much as I can with them, and we all just together as a team just kind of really get out there and just have a ton of fun together. And I'm just so glad to see this team grow and just to build this family, and just really grateful for all of you guys that are on the pro team. And we want to grow the pro team. So if if you guys want to come out there and go fishing with us, you know, send me either write a comment or send me a PM. This goes on to YouTube, but you may see it somewhere else. But feel free to PM us. You know, the pro team, we like meeting new people. We like making new friends. We like, you know, if if you come out with us enough, you know, we'll add you to the pro team. We just really, really like fishing with great guys and just having a good time together. So with that, here's the video.
Okay, you guys didn't get to see it, but this nice rainbow came off the minnow. This is really light line, so I'm gonna come in and get him, but you got a net anywhere? Booyah! Dude, that's a big one. This is a nice fish. This is probably a 20-inch, big, beautiful rainbow. Oh yeah, I see my pole bouncing, man. It was like ba-boom, ba-boom. Woohoo! Rainbow City, this is gonna be breakfast. Booyah! Okay, nice rainbow. Booyah, nice little rainbow. Booyah, baby. Oh, it's good. Nah, it's okay. Something like that. Hey, I'll take anything right now. Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, buddy. That's another one. Another rainbow. Not a bad one, probably. Booyah! Booyah, baby! Check it out! Check it out. Terrence has got another fish. Get him on camera. Check it out. Beautiful rainbow here. This is Rainbow City. Oh yeah, baby. Nice one. Got him. Got him, got him, got him. Oh, it's a little baby rainbow. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Nice, big, beautiful rainbow. Do a little cell phone video with him. Oh, so got him tagged. Rainbows. Let's find out. Nah, rainbow. Pretty sure. Oh, this could be a kokanee. Hang on a second. Get that fast. Nope. Rainbow. Rainbow City, that's where I'm at. Beautiful coloring though. Nice stripe on it. Oh geez, dude, one after another after another. Wow. Well, boys. Oh yeah. There's your hair on your right pocket. Wind's starting to pick up. Hopefully it passes. Really? No. I got him. I got him. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, cute little rainbow. Ooh-wee. Fish on. Fish on, boy. Oh yeah. There he is. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Nice little rainbow. Oh yeah, boy. Minnow. Nice, beautiful little rainbow. What a beauty. On the minnow. A bad one. Nice rainbow. Oh! Grab, grab, grab. Oh, wow. Barely do you ever see that happen. Got him. Oh, that is not a bad rainbow at all. You got it, Brown? That's a nice rainbow. That is a beautiful rainbow. I got one up there. Boom, right in the channel. I knew it. Right in the channel. Nice one. Nice fighter. Oh, look at him jump. nice fighter right here in the channel. Right where I thought he'd be at. Another freaking rainbow. Wow. Right here in this little channel. That's where I thought I seen him. That's where I thought he'd be. Look at the color on him. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful fish. Beauty. Just a beautiful fish. Yes, sir. Minnow. Look at this one through the ice. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Catfish right there.